I've asked you what project success is. I'm going to try and build upon the answer that our friend has just given us here. And then I want to talk about some of the factors that influence success. Because success is about the benefits primarily. Our belief is that most projects, the majority of projects maybe, significant majority of projects do not deliver all of the benefits that they could or should. Okay? And I want to explain why we believe that. Okay? And in doing that, there's a whole lot of unanswered questions that I think happen in most ERP projects. And we'll finish off by just flicking through what we call a business benefits focused ERP implementation model. Okay? So if we define ERP project success, first of all, so I asked the question, what does success mean? And really success means that you're in the green square over here. So the diagram shows two dimensions. It shows, was the project done on time, on budget? And was the project, were the benefits that we expected to get delivered? My contention to you is that most projects end up aiming for the blue square, not for the green. Okay? Because what happens is that you do some work, the project needs to get a business case, it needs to get signed off, and you get a budget. Whoever holds the purse strings allocates a budget to the project. To get that budget, you've got to say that, well, there are certain benefits to the business, or else you're not going to get the budget. This is what happens. It's called a business case. Once the business case is signed, usually the rules of the game change. The rules of the game change from being deliver what the business case said to deliver the project for the budget. Deliver the project for the budget gets you into the blue, if that's all you think about. Okay? Very few people end up in the yellow, actually. So the yellow says that you didn't deliver on time and on budget, but you delivered all of the benefits that you said you were going to do. And even less end up in the green. Now, in the real world, projects don't end up in one or other of these. Okay? So if we change this picture and say, we've got a sliding scale now that says from 0% of the benefits achieved to 100%, and from 0% to 100% on time. So 100% on time and budget means we were on time and budget. 50% means we're 50% over. Now, I'm going to be maybe a bit controversial here, but my view is this is where most ERP projects end up. So what's that saying? That's saying that actually, despite the bad press that ERP gets, most projects are not disasters by any means. Most projects deliver some benefits. Right? We're somewhere between 40 and 60% of the benefits scale. Most projects actually aren't that far away from being on time and on budget, despite the bad press. Yes, there are occasional outliers, horror stories that make the news. They're down in the red, but they're outliers. My opinion is, though, that while they are outliers, there's actually not that many in the top right-hand corner either. Okay? So really what I want to talk about now is why. Why is that? So I talked to you a little while ago about, when we were talking about our services, about risk assessments, that we do risk assessments prior to implementation projects. And when we do those risk assessments, we do the assessment against 9 dimensions, which are represented on the web. So the perfect project, of which, by the way, we've never seen one yet, perfect project would have everything will be red. You'd score 10 on each dimension. Right? The blue represents not any actual client, but it's a typical response. So there's a couple of things to note here. First one, perhaps, is this one. So the ERP product and the ERP consultants. So most of you are here today to look at ERP products and to compare them, and the selection of an ERP product is important. And the selection of the vendor is even more important. But actually, most of the time, if we look at this, there's not a lot wrong with the product, really. The product works. Usually the consultants are pretty good. That's not a problem. We see 2 areas of problem. This side is about contingencies for the project, about the realism of the plan. The statement of work is the description of what it is you're going to do in the project. And if it's not clearly enough defined, well, it's very hard to deliver the project properly. So having less than 10s in here tends to cause you to be late on the on-time, on-budget dimension, because your plan gets pushed. Okay? If you're not clear what you're doing, your budget potentially gets pushed. And people tend to look a lot on these ones to try and do the best they can because they're aiming for the on-time, on-budget. This one over here is the side that stops you getting into the green, in our opinion. Okay, so what are the key things there that cause problems? So I would say there's maybe two. There's what we call the level of business readiness, right, and the lack of clearly defined benefits and objectives in the project. I might say business readiness and leadership. We took the two of those together as factors. So what do they mean?